Hello, and welcome back, or just welcome if this is your first video of mine you're watching. Let's jump right into it, get this time-lapse thing going. So, for this type of drawing, I'll lay down a pencil layer like I do with most of my drawings, and the complexity of the pencil layer really depends on my mood, or the composition itself. If it's something more complicated, that involves a lot of perspective and guidelines and things like that, I'll generally spend more time on the pencil layer beforehand, but ultimately it does come down to what mood I'm in if I want to spend the time doing that. So for this one in particular, since I wasn't really working with a reference, I was just kind of all doing it out of my head, just on the fly. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the pencil drawing. I went pretty straight into inking it. So this style I'm doing here is heavily inspired by the artist John Ken Mortensen. He is a fantastic artist, one of my all-time favorites. Definitely go check out his stuff. It is superb, to say the least. Anyway, this style is very much influenced by his as far as the appearance of the water. A lot of the line work, a lot of the creature design as well is very similar. And so I'll go in, and you can kind of see I don't really have a process as far as I'll lay down all of the basic lines and then go in with more and more details as I go. I'll just kind of feel it out and just work on whichever section I'm feeling like. See, I just drew some of the creature, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll work on these stairs now. I'll work on these rocks now. I just kind of jump around, whatever I'm feeling. I don't really have a set structure. A lot of it, again, depends on my mood at the time. And I do like adding details as I go rather than doing a general layer and then getting more and more detailed as I go along, because I just find it very relaxing to add these sorts of details, like the textures on the rock. Speaking of textures, you can kind of see I use the line work, like the hatching and sometimes cross-hatching, to add textures to whatever I'm doing. So for instance, the rocks, there are a lot of hard sort of straight lines to give it that rocky look. And you can see those sort of things in the distance I do less detail on to sort of give it that appearance of being in the distance, that sort of depth. And then as I get to the stuff that's closer, I add more and more detail. So I'll usually go in with these lines using this gel pen, Pilot G2 gel pen. Fantastic pen, best pen I've ever used. Not a sponsor. I love that pen. Fantastic. Anyway, this drawing in particular, this style, I generally go in with basic lines, add the textures, and then as I go, I'll sometimes thicken some of the outlines just to add a little more definition to them. So you can kind of see, after I'll add the detail and stuff, I'll kind of give it a pass once over, sort of see if the definition is where I want it to be. And if it's not, then I'll go in and add some more stuff. This drawing is actually a scene from a story that I intend to write, it's a middle grade fiction. I had this idea doing a series of drawings and then writing a story based off the drawings rather than illustrating a previously written story. So it's an interesting thing. Anyway, I'm sort of wrapping up. So you can see I basically am filling in all the stuff. It's very jumpy right now. Filling it all in, adding the finishing touches, the shading and stuff, where I'll just add extra lines, go in lightly with those clouds, and then go ahead and there we go. It's really fantastic, the pen I use, because you would think with how solid the lines are, you can't really get light lines, but you can see in the clouds kind of up there, you can get very light lines, have a nice light touch, which I think is fantastic. Anyway, it's pretty simple for this style that I do. It's pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to explain. So that's it. That's my process for this style, which is, again, inspired by John Ken Mortensen's art. Go check him out, please. He is fantastic. Anyway, that's all for now. Goodbye.